Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling love.
Love. Huh.
But with a bit of a twist. We're not, looking at the usual research or articles.
Okay.
Our source today is, well, actually a podcast script on love.
Interesting. A podcast script.
Yep.
So, like, peering into another creator's process
Yeah.
as they, try to make sense of this whole love thing.
Exactly. We get to see how they, frame it, define it, all that, and maybe learn something about our own understanding of love along the way.
Makes sense. I bet everyone listening right now has a different idea of what love even is. It's pretty complex, right?
You're right. It really is. And the script jumps right in with that question, what is love?
Mhm.
It dives into all sorts of perspectives, scientific, philosophical, even poetic.
So it's not just about, like, those love chemicals everyone's always talking about.
Well, they touch on that, dopamine and oxytocin, all that good stuff.
Right.
But it quickly goes beyond the science.
Because as much as science can tell us about the biology, it can't capture the whole human experience of love, right?
Absolutely. And the script actually encourages us to, really think about what love means to each of us.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, there's no one right answer here.
Yeah. No one-size-fits-all definition. It's more like a spectrum.
And speaking of spectrums, the script then gets into, well, romantic love, that kind of all-consuming love we see in movies and books.
Yes, romantic love. It's a classic for a reason. And the script seems to get it. They talk about the grand gestures, the passionate declarations, all the exciting stuff, but also the everyday moments, the things that make a relationship last.
And I noticed they don't shy away from the challenges either,
Yeah.
like communication, vulnerability, trust, all that tough stuff.
Exactly. Keeping relationships strong, it takes work.
They even point out, the initial butterflies feeling that doesn't last forever, and that's okay.
Right. Love isn't always easy.
It's about making that conscious choice to love, even when it's hard.
And I bet some people listening are thinking, well, what about those of us not in a relationship?
Right.
Well, the script has some wisdom for them, too. It talks about self-love.
They're pretty adamant about it, actually. Self-love isn't selfish. It's essential.
Essential, yeah. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first.
I like that. And what's great is they offer actual ways to do that.
Right. They talk about journaling, setting boundaries, being mindful, not just, thinking good thoughts, but actually taking steps to, cultivate
Super
self-love.
practical, which I appreciate. So we've got romantic love, self-love, what else?
Well, they go beyond those two. They talk about the love we have for, close friends and chosen family, what we call platonic love.
Right, platonic love. They describe it as those relationships where you feel, really seen and understood.
They even ask, have you ever had a friend who just gets you?
I have. It's a great feeling. That kind of deep connection where you feel completely accepted.
It's powerful, for sure. Different from romantic love, but just as important.
The different flavor of love, you could say.
Exactly. One that adds so much to our lives.
Back again for more of The Deep Dive.
Feels like we've already talked about so much.
I know, right? But there's still a lot to unpack in this script about love.
There is. And as we go deeper into it, there's this idea that really jumps out. It's this concept that love isn't just something you feel.
Right.
It's something you do.
I remember that. Do love.
Yeah. It made me stop and think. But what does that even mean? Is it more than just, saying, I love you?
That's a good question. And the script doesn't really, spell it out for us.
Right.
It's more like it gets us thinking about all the ways our actions can, be expressions of love.
So it's about, intentionality.
Yeah.
Making choices that reflect that love, whether it's for ourselves, for others, or, even for the world.
Exactly. It's about going beyond just feeling it and actually, putting it into action.
So then, what are some examples of, doing love? Is it about those big grand gestures? Or can it be, everyday things too?
Well, the script seems to say both are important. The big gestures are great, definitely memorable.
Right.
But they also remind us that love is often in the small things, the everyday acts of kindness.
Like what we talked about before, holding the door, giving a compliment, really listening to a friend.
Exactly those things. They seem small, but they can be really powerful ways of showing love.
It's about being present, being mindful, and, actually choosing to do things that nurture and uplift both ourselves and the people around us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It strikes me that this whole doing love thing, it takes, self-awareness.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be in
Yeah.
tune with yourself, your feelings, motivations, all that, to make sure your actions are coming from a place of love.
Yeah, yeah. And what might be an act of love for one person
Right.
could be totally different for someone else.
Absolutely. There's no, like, rule book, and the script gets that. Love shows up in so many different ways.
It does.
What matters is the intention, that genuine desire to express care and, connect with someone.
This reminds me of those love languages people talk about.
Love languages.
Yeah, the idea that we all have different ways of giving and receiving love.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Some people feel loved through words,
Wow.
others through actions or touch. It all ties into this doing love idea, doesn't it?
Totally. If you know your own love language and the languages of the people you care about,
Yeah.
you can express love in a way that really resonates with them.
I like that. And what's really great about this script is that it doesn't limit love to, just romantic relationships.
Right.
It expands it. It includes self-love, platonic love, even love for, like, humanity as a whole.
It's all woven together,
Yeah.
all these different forms of love making up the fabric of our lives.
And it reminds us that love can go beyond just those individual relationships, right? It can reach out and connect us to something bigger.
Like that ripple effect we were talking about. When we choose to do love, it creates ripples that spread out farther than we can even imagine.
And those ripples can, make a difference.
For sure, they can help make the world a more compassionate, just loving place.
I'm curious, have you noticed any changes in how you think about love since we started digging into this script?
I think I have. I've been more aware of the choices I'm making throughout the day, thinking about how even, small actions can be expressions of love.
Me too. I find myself pausing more often,
Yeah.
trying to think of how I can really show up for people in a way that feels, well, authentic.
It's a journey, isn't it? Figuring out how to express love in our own way.
It really is. This whole exploration has been eye-opening, and we're about to get into the last part of the script. Me too. Let's see where this conversation about love takes us next.
Back again for, well, the final part of our deep dive.
Looking back, it's amazing how much we've covered about love.
Yeah.
From all these different angles.
It's been a lot, yeah. Romantic love, self-love, even like love for all of humanity.
And through it all, this script has been encouraging us to think about how we, actually express love, not just the feelings, but the actions.
It's that idea of, love is a verb. It's not just sitting there. It's something you actively do.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff. And the script even suggests that when we choose to do love, it can actually change things.
It can, yeah. Not just in our own lives, but for the people around us. Maybe even for the whole world.
It's like this ripple effect, right?
Exactly.
It makes me think about love as this, force for good.
I like that. A force for good.
And it goes beyond just, one-on-one relationships, too. The script talks about this idea of love connecting us to something bigger than ourselves.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're all part of this web of love, and every little thing we do affects it.
No, as we're getting to the end of the script, I noticed it doesn't, give us a list of things to do love.
No, it does.
It's more like it leaves it open for us to figure out our own way.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
There's no one way to love.
No, there isn't. Everyone's different.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'd say take some time to think about what we've talked about today.
Yeah, good idea.
All these
Yeah.
forms of love and how you express them.
Beautifully put. And with that, I think we've reached the end of another deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of love and that it's given you, some food for thought.
Keep thinking about all the ways love shows up in your life and keep, doing those little things that make the world